Tumblr rose to popularity in early 2008, hitting its peak in 2014 with a steady decline starting in 2015. Within these 9 years, the website was able to gain over 9 million users in the United States, with half of its demographic being young girls. I'm Faith Clarita, and this is the history and the effects of eating disorders on Tumblr. And just a quick trigger warning for mentions of self-harm, mental illness, eating disorders, anorexia, and bulimia will all be discussed in this video, so if you have any aversions to the topics, please click off the video now. Tumblr was largely used by fandoms to share posts about their faves or for girls to anonymously vent about their life problems. A main part of these problems was body image issues and simultaneously eating disorders. Like the website promised, it created a space for everyone, including pro-anorexia communities. And this brings us into the topic of today's video, to discuss the ethics of pro-ana, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The emotional isolation of an eating disorder often outweighed and exasperated the effects of anorexia and bulimia. Before the creation of the internet or Tumblr, anorexic teens struggled alone. Toxic positivity and immediate recovery were the only sources of information available on eating disorders. But how can you work through your eating disorder if you're not allowed to talk about it? Online forums dedicated to eating disorders and ran by people with the illness began spreading up everywhere on the internet and finally allowed a space for people who weren't ready to recover to talk openly about their personal experiences and struggles. And this laid the groundwork for the online normalization and eventual saturation of eating disorders on the internet. Because Tumblr already had its audience built in, it was able to act as a platform for teens to talk openly about their eating disorders and provided a way to make an isolating illness not so isolating. Communities of support were created because of the normalization of anorexia, and people were able to finally choose recovery instead of forcing it. Purely because the topic was something so many people on Tumblr could relate to, its popularity grew and so did its influence. But as the website became oversaturated with eating disorders, it transitioned from acceptance of your illness and understanding to promotion. Hashtags evolved from hashtag anorexia to hashtag pro-ana, which was short for pro-anorexia. Pro-ana content served little to harm the people who created the post or the people who chose to consume it and consented to viewing those images. It does, however, harm people who did not consent to consuming that content. But because Tumblr allowed for the stacking of tags, hashtag pro-ana was often also tagged under hashtag anorexia or hashtag recovery. Pro-ana content started to seep its way into healthy users' feeds and triggering non-intended audiences. Personally, I remember when I was 14 scrolling through Tumblr and finding pro-ana or thinspo, thin inspiration pictures without even realizing it had a name. There was a clear lack of regulation on Tumblr tags about sensitive content, which now segues us into the ugly part of eating disorders on Tumblr. Anorexia started to be promoted as a lifestyle, and the word lifestyle makes the illness seem exclusive or goal-worthy, which elevated the status of those who posted thinspo and glorified it. The romanticization of the illness lowered the motivation to recover, as you were beautiful if you were skinny, and someone who could achieve something so many people failed to. In other words, the only reason you were part of the community was because of your illness. So if you decided to get help, you were no longer part of it. And as mentioned in the good, isolation was the biggest contributor to these online spaces. People who did suffer with eating disorders saw little to no benefits to recovery, as your illness made you beautiful and aspirational. Yet, people without eating disorders were sucked into one through the pressures to fit in and become beautiful. By 2012, Tumblr had recognized the problem and banned majority of pro-ana content, but blogs and text posts dedicated to purging tips and thinspiration can still be found on the website in hundreds every day. Tumblr towed the line between beneficial and harmful in the world of eating disorders and ultimately begs the question whether or not eating disorder communities should be banned or not. Although the blatant promotion of eating disorders is harmful, the connections made through eating disorder communities are beneficial to those struggling in silence and looking for an outlet. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Faith Clarita, and I hope you enjoyed this educational video.